Valerie Wilson, thank you so much for joining us here on DBL. Let's jump right in, Valerie, because you're a millennial, and because of your age, you're not in a high-risk category. Did you ever think you could get sick from this, and how sick did you actually get?
Thanks for having me. I do have underlying conditions. I have Lyme disease and I have an autoimmune issue that we just haven't figured out what it is yet. So I was very concerned about getting very dangerously sick. I would say that my sickness was kind of like a mild flu. It wasn't that bad.
But you look terrific today, so that's the good news.
The makeup helps.
Me too. But what would you have to say to other millennials or even younger people for that matter who may not be taking social distancing and even this whole thing seriously?
You've got to take it seriously because we're not only doing this to protect ourselves, but we're doing this to protect the people that we love. We have to take it seriously. The faster we all go home and get this over with, and the faster that we all shelter in place, the faster we're going to get rid of this, and the faster we're going to be able to go back to some kind of normal and doing the things that we do love.
What would you say to those kids, those millennials on those Florida beaches and all around the country who didn't take spring break serious?
First of all, that just makes me so frustrated, but kids will be kids. They feel invincible, but you've got to go home. You've got to think about the bigger picture. You've got to think about somebody outside of yourself.
Well said. Now let's go back to where this all started for you, Valerie. I got a couple questions. One, how did you find out you had the coronavirus? Two, what were your symptoms like? And three, a lot of people say you're supposed to lose your sense of smell. Did that happen to you at all?
It certainly did. That was one of the first symptoms that I had. So what this looked like for me was a little bit unique. I started feeling these weird waves of sensation running through my body, and it felt like kind of electrical. So I went to bed. I thought I was just overtired, and then it happened again the next night, and I thought that was a little off. I had the sniffles, but barely. The way I explain it is, if I was in high school, I would not have even bothered to ask at the beginning if I could have stayed home from school. Throughout the week, I started to get more of the hallmark symptoms. The cough became very, very strong and prominent, and it was that hallmark dry cough, and I had never had a dry cough before. Usually when you're coughing, you have something to get out. The symptoms first started around March 7th, and I was tested on Friday the 13th. So that was, about 3.5 weeks ago, something like that.
All right, well, you're on the med now. Like I said before, you look great. And you were allowed to go outside for the first time in nearly 3 weeks, like we were talking about. What was that finally like for you after going through all those anxieties and scares?
So as somebody that travels the world for a living, I get to do remarkable things on a nearly daily basis. And this was just as exciting as going to Cambodia and seeing Angkor Wat for the first time. And I really mean that, like going outside and walking my own neighborhood that I've lived in for 6 years that's otherwise pretty mundane just felt so freeing and so exciting. And it was just the happiest I had been in so long to be able to feel like I was over the hump and then go outside and celebrate by just going for a walk by myself.
Absolutely. And you don't hear the terminology, it's beautiful as Angkor Wat when I went outside. I've been there. I know what you're talking about. I get it. Well, Valerie, again, you look terrific. I'm glad you're okay. Thank you so much for joining us here on Daily Blast Live.